everyone, Rich Wiegand, aka Ricky Molina from the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. Glad you could be with me today. Today I'd like to do a video about whammy bars, tremolo bar systems, specifically for electric guitars. You know, I recently traded in a Fender Jaguar, which has a built-in whammy bar system. It pretty much has that Fender Strat ballsy kind of single coil pickup sound with a whammy bar, but it's got a little bit of a bigger body. Anyways, I wasn't playing this guitar quite as much as other guitars, and so I sold it because I was very interested at the time in purchasing the Godin classical guitar, which I'm very, very happy with. That was a pretty good trade from that perspective, but I lost a whammy bar system in the process. And I've been recently working on a song which has a little bit of a slight country feel to it. It's kind of like a Springsteen, Chris Isaacs type of thing. If you remember, Chris Isaacs did that song, Wicked Game, which has that incredibly alluring whammy bar, but it's a very gentle kind of effect. It's kind of a twang in there. And I need that type of sound. And so I kind of miss the whammy bar effect. I happen to have a very nice lead guitar that I use. It's a Carvin TL60, and it has a great sound, you know, humbucker pickups. It's got a fantastic fretboard, but unfortunately, it has the type of bridge here that is not well designed for a whammy bar system. And having spoken to a few guitar techs, they're saying that I would have to grout out an area behind this bridge in order to install, you know, a Duesenberg or a Kahler type of system. But that would end up doing quite a bit of damage to this guitar, and it's not that thick to begin with. So I've been on the market trying to find a fairly reasonable guitar that does the job. And I've been looking at Music Man guitars, PRSs, Gretsch guitars as well. Basically, I'm still doing my research. So that got me thinking, in the meantime, you know, what could I do to achieve that whammy bar effect when I need it in a song? Are there any VST plugins, any effects plugins, or any special tricks of the trade that I can use to simulate the whammy bar tremolo effect? There are a few options available, and I'd like to review two of them in particular in this video. The first one is to use effects plugins that simulate tremolo sounds, whammy or rotary phase shifting kind of a sound. And we'll go through a few of them together in this video. And the second approach is equally interesting, if not more so, and that's to use a sampler tool inside of a DAW, capture the audio track from a guitar part, and then manipulate it using a keyboard controller of some sort. I'm thinking pitch bend wheel here. I'm also thinking of a few other approaches that are available inside of the sampler tool that's available in this case with PreSonus Studio One 5.0. Incidentally, I did have a look at, you know, the modulation octave phase shifting approach using a multi-effects board such as this one from Boss. This is the ME80, which I've had for years, and this has been like a staple for me in terms of practicing when I don't want to wake up the neighbors. It's got, you know, a headphone jack in here, aux jack in, so you can practice with headphones and also plug in to backing tracks if you want to practice soloing or improvising and such. But unfortunately, what I found with this expression pedal, which I mostly use as a volume pedal, is that it's just too extreme. I guess there's a way to adjust the sensitivity of this pedal, but I found that even if you press just a little bit on this pedal, you end up warping, you know, 1 or 2 octaves up or down, and that's just not what I'm after in this case. You know, I'm not interested in dive bombing here with the whammy bar like, you know, Steve Vai and Satriani. You know, none of that. I'm talking more about a more gentle country tremolo effect. So what I've done is to record just a basic rhythm guitar track here using the Carvin in this case, and I'll play it for you straight up here without any effects or anything like that. One more time. Okay, so now let's go over some of the more popular effects plugins that you can use to simulate the tremolo effect. First up, we've got Exponential Audio's Excalibur plugin, which is really quite sweet. I mean, let me just make it a little larger for you so you can see it. This is the expanded view of the GUI or GUI, and as you can see, you can really get carried away here with this plugin. It comes with literally hundreds and hundreds of presets, not just in the tremolo category, but it's got, you know, bass, chorus, combo, delay, distortion, flange, futs, panning, phasing, pitching, resonator, rotary, sound design, which must be very creative. You know, you have like all these Doppler effects and squishes and whooshes and things like that. But anyways, if we head on over to where it says Tremolo and you click on the preset menu here, you can choose from a bunch of tremolo settings, and some of them sound more like rotary speakers, but in this case I wanted something a little bit less intense, something a little more easygoing, so I ended up choosing the BPM half beat cross tremolo. Okay, so let's have a listen to that. I'm going to play it back, and then when we get to the chord sustain part, I'm going to kick in the plugin. So here we go. So you hear that wobbly type of effect. Once again, I'm just going to leave it on. Okay, pretty sweet. And like I said, Excalibur has like hundreds and hundreds of presets that you can go through, and you can adjust, you know, a lot of parameters here. Next up, we have Valhalla Space Modulator. Okay, so let's have a listen to the Valhalla Space Modulator. Okay, so a pretty spacey ambient type of sound. Not exactly what I'm interested in, but I just thought I'd show it to you while we're at it. Next up, we have the FabFilter Timeless, which, like Excalibur, has a ton of presets. I ended up finding something in the sequence subdirectory here called Gate X3SM, which is closest to what I was interested in. So let's have a listen. Okay, very much like a tremolo type of effect, pretty wobbly too. And notice that this program is really designed for the nerdy, wonkish type of people who are interested in tweaking parameters and such. I'm more of a preset guy. I like to hear different presets, sort of narrow down the field to a sound that most interests me, and then I tweak parameters a little bit, if anything. But if you're the type of person who loves to tweak, like say LFOs, ADSR settings, attack, decay, sustain, release type of things, I mean, you can even split up the delays, you know, for left side versus right side with this particular plugin. So I find this plugin from FabFilter to be a little bit technical for me, but it does have some excellent presets and sounds that you can use. Okay, next up we have a pretty cool plugin from PreSonus. This is a native plugin to the DAW that I'm using here, PreSonus Studio One 5.0, and this is the rotor plugin. And what the rotor does, it's like a rotating speaker, literally. So the speaker is sort of circulating. One speaker is going this way, clockwise and the other speaker is going counterclockwise. That's tough to do. Anyways, it's sort of like, you know, wobbles the sound left and right. And in this plugin, you have a bunch of presets as well. I've selected, in this case, the easygoing one. And there are a couple of more extreme rotors, and I'll show you one or two of them as well. This is the PreSonus Rotor plugin. Okay, tough to hear. Let's hear it again. Okay. Here's another one that I like, stereo type. It kind of has more of a split sound across the stereo spectrum. Okay, so not exactly a tremolo bar, but still pretty darn cool. Here's something a little bit more intense, more extreme. The horn copter. You can adjust the speed here, fast or slow. Okay, so that's the rotor from PreSonus. And last up we have the Sound Toys effects channel here. Okay, so we'll start off with the microshift from Sound Toys. And the microshift is really more designed for adding depth. It sort of broadens it out with a chorus effect. There's the detune knob right here, which again gives you the chorusy type of feel. And then you can adjust the delay time here. It's got a frequency focus button here. So if you want to, let's say, microshift the higher or lower frequencies, you can rotate this focus knob accordingly. And it's got a dry wet knob. It also has 3 different styles. Style 1, 2, and 3 that you can choose from. Okay, so here's an interesting preset from microshift called the 99%. Shift over to style 3, style 2. Here's style 3. Okay, pretty gentle. Nothing too out of hand here. Here's the double, which I guess you could use for lead vocals. Okay, now let's check out the tremulator from Sound Toys as well. And I found a nice setting here under the modern category. And as you can see, you've got a ton of presets to choose from as well with the Sound Toys effects plugins. Okay, so let's give Modern 8s a listen. Okay. Pretty wobbly, not too out of hand. All right, nice and sweet. Okay, here's a deep tri-fast. Okay, a little faster. Again, a vibrato-y kind of effect. Here's medium tri-fast. Again, kind of vibrato-y. Nice. Dirty throbs. Wow, this sounds like an intense migraine headache here. You got dynamic ones. Here's a fatal trem. Okay, nice. Fatal end trem, I guess it's called. Now you can tap tempo the beat in here if you like to slow it down or speed it up, whatever. You can also tweak some of the rhythmic sine wave patterns here and the shape and the ADSR type of settings as well. Okay, so last up we have the Phase 90 Turbo, and phase shifters are kind of like a more intense version of a flanger. Things get really wavy with phase shifters. And this one also from Sound Toys has a ton of presets that you can go through. This one sounds quite interesting, and let's listen to it. Okay, so there you go. There's that phase. Okay, here's a mega stereo reso. Oh, that's cool. Pretty wide sweep there. Very nice. That should be pretty useful for ambient type of music, ambient tracks. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up the effects plugins that I have for you. There are other types of plugins that sort of have the, the whammy type of effect. Thinking about lap steel plugin particularly, and the resonator plugin. I forget the name of the manufacturer. I have the plugin, but it doesn't really qualify because it has to do with instrument MIDI entry. In this video, I wanted to focus more on the audio recording. So if you're a guitarist and you're recording audio into your DAW, what do you do to get that tremolo type of effect? So let's say you recorded your guitar part in, and you've got your ending guitar chord, and you want to apply the whammy effect to it. Well, what you can do is you can use a sampler tool. This is the native sampler tool inside of PreSonus Studio One, and it's called Sample One XT. And the cool thing about it is not only can you record any type of sound through a microphone, capture it inside your sampler here, and then save it, and then play with that waveform all you want, but you can also use instrument tracks from inside your DAW, as well as audio tracks. Okay, so now that we've told Sample One XT that we want to record the audio track here above, I'm going to press play and record and capture this part right here. Okay, so we can normalize that waveform like that, and we can adjust the length of this recording. We could fade in or fade out, and we can also map it to a certain key on the keyboard controller. In this case, is being mapped to G#1, which is let's also grab another excerpt right here. So we'll go back to record. So let's grab this little excerpt here. Okay, let's normalize that one as well. Okay, so now that you've got this audio excerpt as a sample, you can now go to mapping, and you can notice where it's located on your controller keyboard here. In this case, the first sample is going to be triggered by A#1, which is this one. And And the second audio excerpt is going to be triggered by key B1. Okay, so the cool part is, now that you've got these two excerpts at your fingertips here, literally, you can then use the pitch bend tool on your keyboard to simulate the whammy bar. So why don't we do that? I'm going to trigger the A#1 key here. It's going to play the first excerpt, and then I'm going to modulate with the pitch bend wheel with my left hand. Okay, so here we go. One more time. All right, that's pretty cool. If I play key B1, we'll hear the second excerpt. Okay, so another cool feature of this sampler, if you click on these buttons here where it says mono and glide, you can actually get like a legato gliss type of effect. Again, it's going to simulate the pitch bend wheel, but you're going to be sliding in and out of notes around the keys that you're playing. So if I play the first audio excerpt again and then play notes above and below it, you can hear the pitch bend effect that way as well. So pay attention to the keyboard GUI here. As I play the notes on my keyboard, you'll see that I'm triggering the pitch bends with neighboring notes. Here's the first one. Another thing that you can do with this sampler is you can adjust the length of time that it takes to gliss from one note to the other. So if we lengthen the gliss slide time by turning this knob to the right, we've just increased it to 500 milliseconds or thereabouts. So if I play the second riff, you notice how that gliss took a lot longer to glide there? If we play the previous polyphonic excerpt, it would sound like this. You notice how it took a lot longer to gliss into the next note? And there's some other cool features in the Sample X1T that are worth exploring, as well as other sound design plugins that you can work with to change the ADSR parameters, for example, LFO, modulators, oscillators, anything and everything under the sun. But these are some of the ones that really stood out to me initially and can be used effectively, especially the pitch bending tool using a sampler where you need that tremolo whammy bar effect. Now, if you have some suggestions that you'd like to share with us as far as whammy bar and tremolo effects are concerned, please leave a comment below this video. And that would be great, because then we could all learn from each other. And if you're happy with the whammy bar system that you have on your electric guitar, it would be great to hear about that as well, because many of us are on the market for purchasing such a guitar at some point in the future. And I can tell you it's always useful to have a guitar like that around. Well, that's it for this video. If you found it useful, please like and subscribe to the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. I'd greatly appreciate that, as that'll encourage me to do more videos like this. And also stay tuned, because I'm going to be sharing some more of my compositions with you. I've got this Western type of sound in a song that's called More Than Enough. And it's a pretty timely song. I was inspired by many different things going on these days in America, and I'd like to share that song with you at some point in the coming weeks. Thanks so much. Stay well. See you again soon.